Hello? Can you hear me? Roger. Can you hear me? Hello? Is it? I just wondered if you could hear me. No. Okay.
He said you can hear her. You can hear you. Hello? Just get a lot closer.
We'll give it just a couple more minutes before we start. Oh, gosh. Okay, I think we're just about ready to get started. Welcome, everyone. Ed? Thank you. No, welcome, everyone. It's so nice to see you all here tonight. Tonight, we will have our usual format. We will have two featured speakers who each get 5 minutes to share their stories and time for a couple of questions directly after their presentations. All speakers will get a 30-second warning, and then they will hear, when their time is up, the bell. If you plan to speak tonight, please fill out a yellow card and give it to Rodger. The PVA board here tonight includes Rodger McDaniel, who will be our moderator, Klaus, who will be our roving mic person, Mike Selmer, Jim Urdelli, Sharon Breitheiser, and me, Marian Urdelli. PVA, or Progressive Voter Alliance, is a nonpartisan group that provides meetings to educate our community on political issues, candidates, nonprofits, and other organizations and events within our community. Also, please pass the bucket during the meeting. Your donations are gratefully received. They go toward filing fees, expenses, Zoom, and the use of this building. Now, before I turn this over to Rodger, please find someone that you don't know well and spend 2 minutes sharing what is new and good in your life. Thank you.
All right, good evening, everybody. We're going to start with our two 5-minute speakers, and the first one is Sharon Breitheiser, who will give us a report on the status of legislation pending at the Capitol building.
I can, I'm ready. Don't start yet, I'm getting.
I know. We had people come in after Marian. The format is, we'll do the 5-minute speakers, 2 of them. Question period after Sharon's 5 minutes, and a question period after Aaron's 5 minutes. Then we'll have all the 2-minute people, who a lot of whom came in late. We'll do all the 2-minute people, and then an open question period in order of the 2-minute people. And the 5-minute speakers, too. You ready?
I am ready.
I'm ready.
I'm always ready. Okay, I have this information in a handout on the table back there. A total of 335 bills were filed in the legislature, and these are some of the bills that are still active that I believe are of note for the Progressive Voter Alliance. 1 election bill, Senate File 114, election of representatives by county. 3 property tax bills, House Bill 67, both, and Senate File 98, both relate to eligibility of veterans' property tax exemptions. And Senate File 39 is the long-term homeowner tax exemption sunset repeal. 3 anti-abortion bills of note, House Bill 3, Wyoming Pregnancy Centers Autonomy and Rights, HB 117, Stop Harm, Empower Women with Informed Notices, HB 126, Human Heartbeat Act. Animal welfare bills of note that are still active, House Bill 29, trapping licenses, non-resident reciprocal licenses, Senate File 25, landowner license limits in limited quota hunt areas, and Senate File 66, donated hunting licenses amendments. 1 surface water runoff bill, SF 116, surface water drainage utilities. 4 health bills, HB 80, identification cards for renewal for care facility residents, HB 122, Wyoming Rural Health Transformation Program, SF 4, Medicaid rate increase for EMS services, and SF 6, eligibility for Medicaid criteria. 2 education bills, HB 10, sexually explicit materials in libraries requirements, and SF 81, K-12 public school finance 2. 1 privacy bill, SF 20, data privacy government entities. The budget is still a work in process. Key dates for the 2nd and 3rd reading of budget amendments will be tomorrow and Thursday. These are the bills in these categories that have failed or are not moving forward. 11 election bills, county officials' nonpartisan elections, pen and paper ballots, ballot drop box prohibition, ballot harvesting prohibition, random hand count audits of election results, elections independent candidate requirements, attorney general elected, election purity and hand count act, 2 of those, election of judges and justices, and elections acceptable identification revisions. 4 property tax bills have not moved forward. There is a residential real property fair market value on transfer, renters property tax relief, and 2 residential property tax constitutional amendments. 3 abortion bills are not moving forward: HB 138, Reproductive Freedom Act, the Baby Olivia Act requiring human development education, and the Right of Healthcare Access Separation of Powers constitutional amendment. 3 animal bills not moving forward: HB 153, Taking of Predators on Public Lands, Landowner Hunting Licenses Limitation, and Transferable Landowner Hunting Licenses Requirements. 2 health bills not moving forward: Medicaid reimbursement for nursing homes and public schools to provide feminine hygiene products. 2 education bills not moving forward: education savings accounts and social studies content standards political ideologies. 3 judicial reform bills not moving forward: Judicial Nominating Commission, Senate confirmation, courts, retired judges, constitutional cases and injunctions, and a Senate joint resolution for confirmation of justices and judicial nominations. 1 privacy bill not moving forward: biometric data and license plate readers regulation. So yes, I could get it in 5 minutes, and I would be glad to answer questions. The budget, already 122 amendments for tomorrow's second reading were posted when I checked at 5 o'clock. I've read every one of them. Some of them deal with these bills that have failed, trying to get money back in the budget or out of the budget. So those of you that have spoken at previous meetings about concerns for education, the university, a lot of that is still in flux. And for example, Representative Chestek, I believe, has an amendment that I glanced at that would try to put that, those 70 million or 40 million or whatever it is for the university back in. So a lot of moving pieces, a lot going on, and I have looked at all of these bills. I'm not sure I can explain the content. 1 or 2 of them were surprises to me, but glad to answer any questions. Thank you.
Okay, we have time for a couple of questions. Klaus will bring a microphone to people who have a question.
Now can you hear me?
Yes.
There you go. So how many of the bills were committee bills that were rejected? Do you have any sense of that? Because oftentimes they have kind of an
Right.
easier path.
There were a lot of them. I didn't actually do a count on that. You know, I have the list of all the bills with me here, and I can, after I sit back down, glance through it. But the first day in both houses last Monday was devoted to committee bills. And for example, many of those 11 election bills, I think 6 or 7 of them were committee bills. So a lot of the bills that committees worked on did not pass the 2/3 hurdle, but the exact number, I'm sorry, I didn't come with that number.
You right there, Marav?
Sharon, which bills do we need to concentrate on in terms of reproductive health?
Thank you. You know that that's the issue nearest and dearest to my heart. The 2 worst bills are House Bill 117 and House Bill 126. Both of those were heard by the House Labor, Health, and Social Services Committee. The House Bill 117 got voted on this morning and has gone to the full House. House Bill 126, they continued it till this evening and maybe doing it now. They were going to go kind of late this evening. So the 126 is the Human Heartbeat Act, which is basically a ban on abortion starting probably at 6 weeks. And the Stop Harm, Empower Women with Informed Notices is a biased counseling and mandatory delay bill that we've been seeing. I think the first one I saw was back in 1993, and we managed to defeat them for many years, but it requires a 24-hour waiting period after a woman is read a government kind of mandated list of things that the doctors are being told to tell her. So those are the two. They're on the move. I don't see a lot of hope of stopping those in the House, but it's still worth a try. They both passed the 2/3 majority. They're sailing 8-1 out of the House Labor Committee. Then they'll go over to the Senate, but we definitely need to keep working on both of those.
Okay, our next 5-minute speaker is Albany County Sheriff Aaron Appelhans to talk about flock safety cameras and immigration and customs enforcement.
Good evening, everybody. I wrote some notes because I'm not exactly sure. Oh, I want to get through this in the 5 minutes that's allotted, so I'm going to go kind of fast. So, the first topic that we'll talk about are flock safety cameras. Just to give you guys a little bit of background on it, flock safety was established in 2017 in Atlanta, Georgia. And they lease out products to law enforcement in terms of license plate reading, surveillance software, video surveillance, software and equipment, drones, and gunfire locator systems on there. So Flock Safety uses AI for computer learning so that the computer can learn and give out real-time alerts when they notice something. So about 4,800 law enforcement agencies utilizes flock cameras across the nation. And essentially what it does is it's basically video recording, especially their license plates readers that they have on the highways. It basically takes everybody's license plate that it sees in its camera and essentially runs it to see if there's any violations, alerts, whatever it may be. So different agencies will have those camera feeds either live in their dispatch system, or they will have it live or alert officers, deputies, highway patrolmen that are out in the field of there as well. So there's kind of a back and forth, some controversy on its usage on there. Some of the things that it faces scrutiny about is the efficacy, privacy, and its potential for mass surveillance. Some of the things that it's been used good for is search and rescue, especially in urban areas, locating missing persons, locating anybody that has BOLO or be on the lookout warrants for law enforcement. They're able to catch that and then send out alert and divert resources to that area. So that's essentially flock safety in a nutshell. So real quick, we don't have any flock safety cameras here in Albany County, just for everybody to know. So the next topic is Immigration and Customs Enforcement and 287G program. So Immigrations and Customs Enforcement is a federal agency that's tasked with exactly what the name says, immigration and customs enforcement. The 287G program is a partnership between the federal government, ICE, and local law enforcement, where ICE authorizes local law enforcement to perform immigration and enforcement duties under the direction and the authority of Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE. So there's 3 types of agreements through the 287G program. There's a jail enforcement agreement, a warrant service officer agreement, and a task force model. The jail enforcement agreement essentially uses the jail as an ICE facility. So if somebody is taken into custody and they come in at the local jail, the jail is able to enforce those administrative warrants that are handed down from ICE to hang on to an individual so that they can go through their separate ICE detainment due process or to be removed from the country. So the second one is a warrant service officer, and it's similar to the jail enforcement model where a corrections officer or deputy will be essentially deputized by ICE, and they're able to conduct investigations and administer administrative warrants at the detention facility. So the difference is instead of the jail enforcement model where somebody comes in and then it's flagged by ICE, the warrant service officer, the officer would then conduct investigations on everybody that comes into the detention facility to see if they have immigration status issues. And then the last one is the task force model. That's one where you get into an agreement with ICE and you can go out into the community under the authority of ICE to do immigrations and customs enforcement investigations, administrative warrants and arrests. So that is that 287G program in a nutshell. And I got the wave for 30 seconds, so there's the bell. Made it.
Okay, we have time for a couple of questions. If you want to raise your hand.
Okay, real quick, Rodger, before we take off, I've been asked by the board, since we have a lot of new people here this evening, if you're not familiar with our format, we will now take a couple of questions. Each question is not to be multi-part and no follow-ups. If you do not get the opportunity to ask Aaron a question, after all of our next 2-minute featured speakers talk, when they're all done talking, we will then have all the featured speakers come back up and have another round of questions. So if you don't get asked to ask your question, you will have another opportunity. And if at the end you fail to get your question asked then, when the meeting's all over, I'm sure any of our featured speakers would love to hang around and speak with you. So thank you. Hands up. Who has a question for Aaron? Who was first? This one? Ann? Did you have a question? You had your hand up. Okay.
Aaron, the question I'm going to ask is, what level of activity is ICE involved in Albany County?
Very, very low activity. So the things that we've seen, at least from the sheriff's office, is they've asked for administrative detainers to be honored, which we've told them unless that detainer is signed by a judge, that due process will go through. So if inmates are being released by the local judge, we release them. We don't hang on to them any longer than any type of detainer by either a federal circuit, district, or municipal judge allows.
I'm getting there.
Mm-hmm.
Sir, can you tell us how many people your office has released with ICE detainers since you've been in office?
Let me think over the 6 years. Probably about 7. The one from last week, yes.
All right, and now we have the 2-minute speakers. The first one, Bianca, is that Infante? Will speak on Junto's support to the immigrant community.
Hi all, my name is Bianca. I'm the program director for Juntos, a nonprofit organization that advocates for the immigrant community around Wyoming. Based here in Laramie, but some of the work that we do is help connect families who need support on finding resources about immigration. That could be here in Wyoming or that could be in another state. We host legal clinics for people, and we also offer Know Your Rights. So we try to put our community members in contact with resources. And if anybody has any questions, please find me after the meeting. And that's I only have a few minutes, so I'm not gonna take the 2. Yes.
When all of the 2-minute speakers have spoken, you'll have a chance to ask each of them questions. So if you have questions as they speak, just make a mental note of it, and you'll have an opportunity to ask questions. The next 2-minute speaker is Dennis Cook, who will give us an update on nursing home at Ivinson.
So, you know that's a passion for me, and I think the community, and so the community, we've had the last 2 Board of Trustees meetings were very well attended by members of the community. And as a result, at our last meeting, the Board of Trustees decided that we would retain some expert advice on the profitability of a new nursing home, how big it would be, and how much it would cost. And so that process has been going on since then. And we'll meet again on February 25th, so not this Wednesday, but next Wednesday at 4 p.m. at the hospital in the main floor in the same meeting room that we've had the other meetings. And we'll have 3 different proposals that we've heard from 3 different consulting groups, and we'll talk about those and decide on which one would be the one to go forward. And all of the proposals, the initial proposals, will probably only take 4 to 6 weeks for the consultants to come up with their basic thoughts about whether it would be profitable, whether it makes sense to have a new nursing home. But it's so important to come to the public meeting, and I don't know that there'll be a need for a lot of public comment, but if you have comments, you can make it. But the important thing is for all of us board members to have members of the community out there looking them in the eye and holding them accountable. That helps. So thank you.
Our next speaker is Aaron O'Doherty to talk about City of Laramie planning and recycling.
We're going to cram in several topics. I'm on city council, and so downtown right now at 103 East Grand, we have the planning department has a display set up, and it's called the Forge Exchange. It's in the same place as the Laramie Main Street, and they have certain operating hours like Wednesday 10 to 1, Thursday 2 to 5, Friday 8 to 11. And this is a project to talk about a plan for Laramie through 2040. And so there are changing exhibits and activities. So even if if it's not one of the hours that I just mentioned, you can peek in there if you're downtown and you can see the display and make some comments. It's pretty cool. And then the other thing I wanted to say is that I get a lot of questions about recycling. And if anybody knows me, you know, I'm kind of fanatic. And we have a app that you can put on your phone, so you can go to Play Store or whatever it's called in the Apple world and look for Laramie Waste and Recycling. And you can download the app and you can put in, here's the thing I'm wondering about, you know, like we can now do yogurt tubs. So if you put in things like that, it'll tell you whether it's recyclable and where it's recycled. And then because my friend Robin brought this up when I was at Second Story the other day, I want people to know that the glass that you recycle at the landfill for free, it gets turned back into glass. It doesn't just get crushed and used for road base or to cover things. We use a company called Glass to Glass, Glass-T-O, glass.com. I'm very proud of that. Thanks.
Thank you, Aaron. And the next speaker is Darren Wyatt, a candidate for Albany County Sheriff.
Evening, folks. For those of you who weren't here the last time I spoke, my name is Darren Wyatt, and I'm a candidate for Albany County Sheriff's Office. I'm a 37-year police veteran. I've worked virtually every aspect of law enforcement, including gangs, vice, narcotics, child abuse, domestic violence, homicide for 3 different tours, and I was a public information officer for 5 years. I want to tell you a little bit about my personal life that have some life experiences that will assist me in this. So when I was 12 years old, we moved to Southern Africa. My parents were missionaries. And we actually lived in the Republic of South Africa for 5 of those years, from 1979 to 1984. And for those of you who are history buffs, that was during the height of apartheid. It was essentially legalized racism. Through that, I developed a deep hatred for bigotry and racism of all kinds. Okay, switching topics here, let's talk a little bit about this 287G program and ICE. Does anybody want ICE here like they are in Minneapolis? No. There's a way to prevent that, and that is letting them into the jails. If you bring them into the jail so they can take the criminal aliens out from there, they won't be out on our streets. When we released a prisoner last week, ICE had to come in, a task force had to come in into our community and rearrest him. All we have to do is sign the jail enforcement memorandum, allow them to take them when they're in our jail, and we won't have to worry about them being out on our streets. It's a simple solution, folks. If they'd allow that in these other communities, you wouldn't see what you're seeing right now. Thank you very much.
The next speaker is Diana Dennison to talk about Wyoming Public Radio's 60th anniversary event.
Hello, I'll just be quick. I'm Diana Dennison. I work at Wyoming Public Radio. I have some flyers here I'll hand out. Yes, we're going to have an event tomorrow. We're celebrating our 60th anniversary, and it's going to be in Cheyenne if you're out and about. Stop on by. We're gathering at the Capitol at 12:15 tomorrow. And we'll meet at the intersection of West 24th and Capitol Avenue. If you can, wear something blue or your favorite piece of Wyoming Public Radio swag for the photo op. But most importantly, just come as you are. The event is supported by the American Coalition for Public Radio. We're not doing any lobbying, but they're gathering and celebrating our 60 years. And what is the purpose of the event? To showcase Wyoming Public Radio's 60 years of service, as well as our commitment to being a part of Wyoming's future. And who put on the event? Concerned citizens organized the event, and it's also supported by the American Coalition for Public Radio. And this organization it supports stations as they engage local stakeholders about the value of public radio in the communities. And I think we have more information online if you're interested. Any questions? All right, questions later. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Jenny Vincente to talk about elder exploitation and abuse.
Back in the late 90s and early 2000s, my family experienced elder abuse and exploitation. And it was the worst experience of my life to see your parents being maltreated, stolen from, medical care being withheld. And I and other colleagues who have experienced it or who have known people who did experience it came together, and for about 15 years now, we've been working on trying to learn what we wish we had known at that point. And so we have identified what we call risk and protective factors, things you can know and look for as a proactive approach to prevention. And so now I am an official AARP volunteer, and I could go anywhere in the state and do educational sessions on this. And I have customized those presentations. I've done some for law enforcement, I've done some for health care providers, and I have done some for senior centers, and I'm talking with people about doing them for clergy and church leaders. And that's just a limited list. So I am encouraging people to contact me so that we can get this word out and help stop the suffering.
Our next speaker is Brett Glass to talk about the City Council and the Wyoming Constitution. Oh, there you are.
Good evening. My name is Brett Glass, and I don't sit on the City Council, as a previous speaker did. I was a candidate for it. I didn't win a seat. But I still monitor what goes on with the council very carefully, and I noticed something on this week's agenda which the public may be concerned about. On the national level and on the state level, we've seen a lot of threats to democracy, government trying to bypass the people. And this week there's an item on the City Council agenda which doesn't look like it, but if you read it carefully, is exactly that. It is a pair of what looks like leases, where the city is leasing City Hall to a bank, and the bank is subleasing it back to the city. And the bank is and what's happening is the bank is paying immediately for the entire lease, and then the city is gradually leasing it back, and ultimately will pay more than the bank paid. What does this sound like to you? It's a loan. It's a loan disguised as a pair of leases. Why would the city do something like that? Well, the Wyoming Constitution, Article 16 says, no debt in excess of the taxes for the current year shall in any manner be created by any county or subdivision or any city, town, or village or any subdivision thereof in the state of Wyoming, unless the proposition to create such debt shall have been submitted to a vote of the people thereof and by them approved. This is an attempt to bypass the requirement for an election, and it's very important that we call the city out on this and say we want to have an election, because it just so happens we are going to be having a special election on the 6-penny sales tax coming soon. It's a perfect opportunity for us to submit this to the people. We should insist that the city do this and not try to use games calling a loan a lease in order to try to bypass the will of the people. Thank you.
Our next speaker is, I think it is Validus on upholding the Constitution.
Well, I better get right at it. 2 minutes can burn up real quick. But I tell you what, people, you guys are in the right place if you guys love creating justice, and all souls are sacred and worthy. And I can't see the word behind there, but I guarantee you that unity makes a difference. And you know what? There is people here that want to do that. And we need to realize that, like this lady said, for the people of the elders. Or how about this? How about for my children? When my children saw that the people in authority did not uphold the law, what do you think that did to my children and their dreams? What does that devil do to my Belafonte? Well, that does something to me and that does something to our dreams. And so I ask you this, I ask you that when you vote for a sheriff, don't vote Aaron Appelhans. He's a nice speaker, he's a nice guy, but no, all I'm saying is that he's the one that has not upheld the law for my family. He has not upheld the law for my family. Okay, I didn't realize I wasn't allowed to say that. Okay, I got that. But you got to understand that that's the person responsible for harming my family. And when, okay. Well, wait a minute.
Your time is up.
I was just trying to finalize that idea.
And you've done that.
Okay, well then let me get back to my point, which is that we have unity here and that there is, wait a minute, why? Just because I told you the truth?
I asked you to quit, and you wouldn't quit.
Quit what?
Criticizing an
I didn't.
individual.
I just, it was, you interrupted my word.
Let's knock it off. Time is up. You made
That
your
doesn't
point.
seem fair, because what I'm here is reciprocating what she said, what he said. I'm saying the exact same thing.
You've been given
My
a lot
family
of time.
matters. Justice matters for my family.
You're hurting your own point.
I'm not hurting anything.
Take your seat.
I could sit here and commit crimes against that individual, and I would be found unguilty for doing so. He has harmed my family. Yeah, you don't care, okay? I don't know who said that. I know people that do.
Okay. We've given you your time. I'd invite you back to just observe, to kind of see how this group conducts itself. Okay. Can we move on to the next speaker? The next speaker is Tom Wilhelm, Wyoming Public Media. Tom?
Well, I'm Tom Wilhelm. I've worked for Wyoming Public Radio for 42 years, part-time, on Saturdays for the Ranch Breakfast Show. And I just wanted to let you, I just wanted you to realize what a gem we have in Wyoming Public Radio. I think it's unifying the whole state. The news has grown tremendously since in the 42 years I've been there, so that, there's top-notch reporting. And it covers both sides. And I want you to talk to your legislatures about keeping money for public radio and keeping public radio alive here in Wyoming.
All right, now we'll have time for questions for the speakers. Please, if you have a question, make it a question and not a time to comment, or debate, but a time to ask questions. And we'll start with Sharon Breitheiser. Are there a couple of questions for Sharon? Anyone? Okay. For Aaron Appelhans, anybody have a question for Aaron? He'll bring you a microphone.
It doesn't sound like it is.
Oh, now it is.
Y'all heard that, right?
Okay, I have a question about the flock identification system.
Sure.
Okay, so every now and then I go to DIA.
Mhm.
Okay, so they read my license plates, send me a bill.
Okay.
Okay, and right after that, usually within a couple weeks, I get a notice from some spammer that I have a toll due and they're going to lock me up and blah, blah, blah. So does that system get hacked and so you get spammed? How does that hacker know I went through the toll gate and they read my license plate?
So to kind of answer that question in two parts, the camera system that they have for the toll roads, specifically in Colorado, has been hacked into. That personal information has gone out because they've sent out notices saying, hey, if you start to get additional toll bills or you're contacted by somebody who wants to collect on those things, they've put out that information that that's false, that's fraudulent on there. The second part is has Flock Safety been hacked? Not to my knowledge, but that doesn't necessarily mean that there isn't an ability to do so. They lease information to law enforcement to be able to be used for law enforcement purposes, but they're just like every other technological big tech company. They collect all of that information, and they're able to kind of do with it what they want, whether they decide to sell that or aggregate it, provide statistics, those types of things. And so, yes, there's always a risk with that technology.
Time for one more question for Aaron.
We've got like 3.
I have a quick question again with the Flock system, and if you could reference the partnership that they have with Ring doorbells.
Yes, so Flock Safety does have a partnership with Ring doorbells as well. And maybe some of you guys saw the commercials that were on the Super Bowl where they said, they could find a lost dog for you, where you can click on the app and then it would automatically activate all of the other Ring doorbell cameras in the neighborhood on there as well. So yeah, the same type of technology, same type of recognition is built into that camera system, whether or not you guys have signed up for those features or not. That, like I said, they're available on that back end, and that company is able to utilize it in there as well. So part of the big long agreement that you sign there at the end when you get your Ring doorbell or anything that's associated with Flock Safety systems.
Thank you, Aaron. Are there any questions for Bianca Infante about Juntos or support for the immigrant community? Okay.
Okay. I'll wait till Bianca gets up there. Bianca, do you have thoughts or ideas about how people in the community who want to be of assistance could assist you?
Thank you for the question. There's different ways you can get involved. One is helping us first. It's about also learn about your own rights so that you can help other people assert their rights, help with spreading red cards. I don't know if people know about red cards, being able to spread that out, talk with businesses about how to protect their spaces. And then other is financial support, to be able to support people who are going through difficult situations. So, yeah. Thank you.
Another question?
Hang on. Have to take the long way.
If this is like a sensitive question, you don't want to answer it, cool. But can I ask your opinion on letting ICE into the jails or waiting until people come out?
My own perspective, and I'm gonna talk about my own as a junta person, especially because I do consider myself an immigrant. I'm a naturalized citizen. It took me a long time, but just knowing that anything that I did could put me in a position, in a vulnerable position, where ICE could just come in, and that was just me growing up. So I do not agree with 287Gs, and I don't agree with local law enforcement collaborating with ICE, because I believe that local law enforcement is here to protect us and be here for our safety. And when you collaborate with with ICE, you're sending a different message, and you're saying that you only care about a portion of your population and not all your community. So that's my, yeah.
All right, any questions for Dennis Cook about the nursing home? Anyone? Okay. How about for Aaron O'Doherty on City of Laramie planning and recycling? Aaron, you want to come up?
Aaron, did I understand you to say that the city is now taking the yogurt and cottage cheese containers again?
Yes, that is the case.
Any other question for Aaron?
Do you, off the top of your head, know what the number is on the bottom of the bucket for those yogurt and cottage cheese containers?
No, and a lot of them are like 5, so typically 5s aren't recyclable, but we put a lot of pressure on waste management, and that's who takes our recycling, and I'm sure it was just my personal pressure. No, I had nothing to do with it. They got enough pressure that now they have a way to pull that out. I'm not sure that that really gets recycled, but it doesn't count as pollution in our stream. So they say they take it. I guess I trust them.
Any questions for Darren Wyatt? Anyone? Yes. Darren, do you want to come up here?
Absolutely. Hi.
Hi. So you made the comment that if we wanted to keep ICE out of the streets, we let them in the jails.
Correct.
Have they given you something in writing telling you that that would be the case, or where did you come up with that idea?
I've spoken with law enforcement leaders across the nation, and I just got to say for the lady from Junta, I'm 100% in agreement with what you say. We don't want ICE out, or we don't want local law enforcement out enforcing local immigration laws, because we need the community to trust us. But that's why we bring them into the jail, so that if there's a criminal alien there, they're taken from the jail. It reduces the risk to law enforcement, because they don't have to try and arrest them in an uncontrolled environment. They can take them out of a controlled environment. So it's really the best solution for all, because you're not having them out in the field there. You're not having your local law enforcement engage in immigration enforcement in the field. It's just turning over the illegal aliens that have ICE detainers to the feds through the jail system.
So I'm just asking again, same question. Do you have something in writing, or is it just word of mouth?
At this point, it's word of mouth, but it would have to be in an agreement with ICE, and then that's when it would come in writing. Okay? Thanks.
Anyone else?
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Sorry, about the, do you know how many people ICE have detained that are not criminals and that they are U.S. citizens?
I do not. But again, that's out in the field, that's not in the jails. That's when you're having the ice out in the field. Like Aaron has one.
Thank you. If you have other questions.
I'll be here, so I'll
afterwards,
answer your questions.
Speakers will be around. All right, any questions for Diana Dennison from Wyoming Public Radio on their 60th anniversary event? Diana, would you come up?
Diana, I was wondering if you could comment on the current state of the budget cut. We were talking about it a little earlier, but I didn't get a chance to ask you. Do you know what the current state is in the legislature of the cut for public radio?
I believe Sharon might be able to help me with her long list of the bills, but I believe it was proposed that there would be an $800,000 cut of our total budget. They want to take all of, the Joint Appropriation Committee proposal wanted to take all state funding away from Wyoming Public Media, so that would total $800,000, which is about, I think, 17% of our total budget, because we also have members that donate, and we have underwriters and grants that fund the rest. So about 17%. Does that answer your question? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, can you pull the mic a little closer?
Yes.
Yeah, I think they're having a hard time online hearing you.
Okay, so it was proposed and to the legislature. They will spend the next month going through the proposal and then amending lines, for instance, the cut to Wyoming Public Radio. If someone offers an amendment and that passes, then I guess that cut would not occur. So it's all up in the air for the next month. We have the joy of watching the debates, I guess, for the next several weeks.
Okay. We have one more question back here.
Hi, my name is Rose Lang, and I'm sure that has passed through people's minds who are advocates of public media that, you know, one way to enact budget cuts is to go to strictly digital. But I would like to hear either of our two Wyoming Public Radio professionals here speak to the importance of physical, of radio wave frequencies in a rural state like Wyoming. And it feels so easy to sell that frequency when you're under pressure. But I did want to hear my professionals speak to that.
I'm sorry, could you repeat the question?
Never mind. I just wondered if, okay, never mind.
The technical? Yes. And so we do have, I think, close to 30 signals around the state. That is radio signals, and we cover a lot of rural areas around Wyoming. So a lot of those places don't have access to the internet, and so they wouldn't be able to stream it like we can locally. So does that answer your question? All right, thank you. Any other questions?
Any questions for Jenny Vincente on elder abuse and exploitation? Klaus?
I'm wondering if you've, I'm wondering if you've presented your information to any of the local PEO chapters.
I could.
I would
And
like to.
I try to customize the presentations to the group, although I don't know a lot about PEO, but I'd be happy to.
Any others?
What's the best way for people to ask you for help? Should they go through AARP?
Well, you can just email me if you want. Vincente uwyo.edu. That's the simplest. Okay. Thank you.
Any questions for Brett Glass? Okay. Any questions for Mr. Valadis? Okay. How about for Tom Wilhelm, Wyoming Public Media? Okay. Well, the speakers, many of them will be around a little longer this evening. If you have questions for them, I'm sure they'd be happy to visit with you. I want to thank you all for coming out tonight, and we'll see you next month.